Hey Bear, what do you do when you hit level 50? This is the most common question that I have been getting recently. People are confused about what to do at 50, so we're going to dive into this thing. When you hit level 50, you have a bunch of options. The very first thing I recommend doing is doing your Tree of Whispers progress. That is really good for gear. You just hit 50. Hopefully you are in World Tier 3. By the way, if you are not in World Tier 3, go ahead and run yourself into World Tier 3. That is where all the gear is that you want to farm until you hit T4. So the very first thing I recommend doing, and there are lots of options that you can do, the very first thing I recommend doing is doing the Tree of Whispers progress. Now, the Tree of Whispers works like this. You have lots of rewards that you can do. You do lots of quests, and they are marked on the map. You can do cellars, you can run dungeons, or you can do events. Those are all marked on the map, and they all give you Tree of Whispers favor. They give you Grim Favor, which you can turn into the Tree of Whispers for a cache filled with loot. Now, when you turn this in, you will get a Nightmare Sigil, usually at least one. Once you have a Nightmare Sigil, what you want to do is you want to start running Nightmare dungeons that you can. Run Tier 1 until you get stronger, until you upgrade your gear. The idea here is to get as much gear as you can and to start farming dungeons, and Nightmare dungeons is where we want to be. Once you get to the point where you can actually run a Tier 3 sigil, you can craft your own sigils. Now, as you could see, I have a whole bunch full, and I didn't craft any of these. These were all drops. But as soon as you run Tier 3 or higher, this will allow you to craft your own sigils at the Occultist. So that is how you continue to run Nightmare dungeons. And then as you run them more and more, you'll get a whole bunch of sigils, and then you can continue climbing Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5, jump up to T8, and it goes on and on. So that is how you're going to be progressing. From there, what you want to do is you want to work on Helltides. Helltides, right now I currently don't have any active, but there are lots of trackers by this point, when they start, when they end. So you want to run Helltides for the gear, for the cinders, for the gear, and of course the experience. And if you have not completed all of your strongholds, go ahead and finish all of your strongholds as well. And by the way, while you are doing that, you can rerun the Tree of Whispers multiple times, as many times as you need. So if you are finding yourself without anything to do, you can complete the Tree of Whispers many times over, as many times as you want, and you'll continue getting gear. Now, while you are doing that, if you don't have any Nightmare Sigils and you haven't cleared Nightmare 3 just yet, you haven't cleared Tier 3 and you can't craft your own, go ahead and run Dungeons 4 aspects. When you run Dungeons and when you complete the Helltides, you will get a chance to drop Nightmare Sigils. And actually, once you get a couple done, once you complete Tier 3, it honestly goes really fast, because you start getting Sacred Gear and then you start getting Uniques. I've gotten a bunch of Uniques already in this season. This is Season 1, Day 3. I'm level 58. I took a break for a long time to spend with my family, because that is very important. And if you are still looking for something to do, if you're bored and you've done all that, you're still looking for something to do, there's always PvP. If you don't like PvP, I'm not a big fan myself, you can continue the seasonal progress, right? Go ahead and continue following the seasonal progress. Seasonal items and journeys are marked, of course, with the seasonal leaf, as it was in Diablo 3, so continue doing that. The very last thing, or the second to last thing, I guess, you can do World Legions and World Bosses. Completing World Bosses will give you a really good legendary cache once a week. And then, of course, you can work towards completing the Capstone Dungeon to go into Tier 4. Now, Capstone Dungeon is recommended for 70+. You can run it at about level 60, level 62, depending on how strong you are, but it is recommended closer to 70, be easier. The whole idea is for us to go to transition from World Tier 3 to World T4, and now we can start getting the best items, and then we can jump into farming higher and higher Nightmare dungeons. So that is what you do when you hit level 50. So if you are confused, go ahead and level up, farm some gear, get some better gear, do some transmogs, work on your Paragon tree. And speaking of Paragon tree, there are 4 altars of Lilith that you can get. That will give you 1 Paragon each for 4 Paragon total when you hit level 50. And then when you've done all that, you progressed in T4, you want to take a break, help a friend out. We all need a hand from time to time. That's going to do it for me. Do me a huge favor, hit the like and the subscribe to help my channel grow. And for more BearCozy videos, check out the top right.